Guys, I just love this show so much. I mean, come on. It is the best show on TV. Thumbs up if you agree with me that it's the best show on TV. And I thought the finale was wonderful. Now, was it the best finale that the show has ever had? No, I don't think we can go that far. But overall, I was extremely happy. There were some surprising moments, and my theory was correct, at least a big part of it. So, hey, I'm a happy girl. So, you guys were completely right when you said that that random woman that Frank was hooking up with in the episode before the finale wasn't a random woman. You know how this show is. I mean, they don't just throw out random characters or have random things happen. It all makes sense. It all ties together, and that's why it's such a phenomenal show. So, what this woman was doing was she was actually working for the Mahonies, you know, back in the past, and she wanted to pay Frank to plant a listening device in Annalise's hotel room to figure out what she was doing with that case involving Mahoney's son. And he falls for the bait. He gets paid a ton of money, and we see him plant that listening device in her hotel room. Of course, what happens because of this is that, like many of you predicted, the accident which killed Annalise's kid was not an accident. It was ordered by Mr. Mahoney. And just to clear this up, Frank was not the driver of the car, because I watched it 3 times to make sure I was hearing this correctly. Mahoney had paid someone to crash into her, and I'm sure that they wanted her to be killed, but instead her baby died, which was extremely sad, and Frank is essentially to blame. So wow, that was the big secret here that he was hiding, and maybe he has more secrets, like I'm sure he probably does, but that was a huge secret that got dropped in this finale. Now, there was quite a bit of time dealing with Annalise and her personal family and some drama dealing with that in Memphis, because after she finds out that Frank was actually the person to kill Lila, she found that out in the episode before the finale, she goes off to Memphis to be with her mom because she just needs to get away from it all. She turns off her cell phone. She needs a break, but it's not much of a break because there's some drama going on in her home. Her dad has reappeared. Her dad left when she was young, and her mom and dad have, reunited, gotten back together. And I do agree that there was, a big emphasis on her family, and it was almost a little too much and a little boring. But apparently, as some of you guys told me in our live chat, Cicely Tyson, who plays Annalise's mom, was only available to film this one episode, and she needed to, I guess, get her time in, maybe based on her contract. So they had to kind of place an emphasis on her because she is a very big deal, if you weren't aware. But I agree, it was a little bit too much. So we find out, or the Keating Five finds out, that a warrant is out for Annalise's arrest, but they're not really sure why. And of course, they can't get a hold of her because her phone is turned off. So, Nate is concerned about Annalise because the Keating Five tell him, she's fled to Memphis, so he actually goes there, and he's part of all of these family scenes, and of course everyone hopes that they will stay together, maybe get married. I don't know if the show's going to go that way. I'm a fan of Nate's. I love the actor who was in the show Dexter before this show, so I was already kind of a fan of his before I even knew how he would play out in this show. But I like him. I don't think he's a sinister guy. I don't think he's hiding anything, but who knows? I could totally be wrong. So something that we, I guess, didn't realize was that Annalise's mom never knew that she had a baby. And she finds out in this episode. It's a very dramatic scene. And her mom kind of has the idea to help her write a note and bury it in the yard in honor of her baby. And we learn that the baby's name was Sam, after his dad. Very emotional. I mean, Viola is definitely getting another award for this season because what can we say? She's freaking incredible. So, we find out why Annalise, they want to arrest Annalise. Well, there turns out that there was a rat, and that rat is Caleb. I've said all along we can't trust him, so he was, delivering information, trying to make her look bad, trying to make everyone else look bad. And the thing is that the DA really thinks that he's got Annalise here, so she goes in to talk to him, and we learn so much information. We find out that when Philip was in Wes's apartment and when he was struggling with her, he actually had a conversation with her in which he told her that, hey, Caleb is your real killer here. He had a fitness tracker on, and it can prove that he killed Philip's mom, and then we can also prove, because of Catherine, that he killed their parents. So we find out that Catherine and Philip had an inappropriate relationship, even though they weren't blood related. Still, it was wrong. They were doing everything besides having sex, and he didn't show up the night that the parents were murdered because he was off murdering the parents. So he is a serial killer, and like I said all along, Philip was not the villain. Caleb was. It made me very happy to see that theory come true. And then we find out that Caleb has killed himself. He's in a bath full of his own blood. Very, very, very disgusting. I tweeted out a video that explains the finale in depth it's an ABC made video from How to Get Away with Murder. Just in case you have any questions that I don't answer that you still have, you can watch that. My Twitter is Kellie_TV, but the information is down below to find my Twitter if you're not following me on there. So it was just epic because, of course, Catherine's no longer going to be in jail. Philip was there to explain to the DA what had happened. And the reason that Annalise didn't come clean with this before then is because she wasn't sure if Philip was telling the truth. But then after Nate went and talked to Catherine in jail, he got her side of it and it all matched. And we realized that Caleb was the actual big villain here. So I was so super hoping, as you know, that Oliver was going to turn out to be a big villain. And that didn't happen. But thankfully, near the end of the episode, we learned that Oliver was doing some real shady stuff. And I think that he will further develop into something next season. So Connor got accepted into Stanford, but he didn't know, and Oliver called Stanford pretending to be Connor, and he said that he turned down the acceptance into the school. What is that about? That is so freaking shady. Of course, Oliver wants to be hired by Annalise, and I can see that happening in season 3. I've also learned via Twitter from Pete Nowalk, who is the writer of the show, that the character who plays Oliver has been cast as a series regular, so I'm expecting big things from him, and I'm hoping that it's shady things, just because I think that would add a lot of spice to the show. We also got a very dramatic flashback dealing with Frank and Sam, and we understand completely now why Frank owed Sam a favor. So we see that Frank comes to the hospital shortly after Annalise's baby died, and he's telling Sam that it's all his fault, and Sam's like, no, it's not, it was a car accident. So he explains to him about how he was paid to put that bugging device in her hotel room, and then they went out, and because Mr. Mahoney ordered it, they ran into her and killed her baby. So Sam completely freaks out, and as much of a dirtbag as he is, I think in this moment we realize how much he truly loved Annalise, at least at that time, and is very sad that their baby had died. And he tells Frank that if, don't ever tell her what happened or he will ruin him. So he never does tell her, but Frank feels so bad about it, and he's felt bad about it for years. And of course, when Sam wanted Lila dead, he called on Frank because he owed him a favor, and that's why he killed her. Now, you see a scene near the end with Bonnie talking to Annalise, and it's not super clear, but it's my understanding that she explains to her how all of this went down. I could be wrong. Let me know if you saw it somewhere else differently, if they've tweeted it out and I missed it. But I think she now understands everything that went on dealing with Frank, and she tells Bonnie that Frank needs to be fired. But Frank cannot be found anywhere. I was expecting a Frank suicide because Laurel goes to his apartment, looks everywhere. I thought he was going to be hanging in the closet, but thankfully he wasn't, because as annoying as he is, I still actually like his character. And we got a very surprising ending that I don't think any of us saw coming. We see Wes going to find his father in New York. Now that wasn't very surprising, but he approaches him on the street. He goes up and tells him he thinks that he's his son. He starts to say something about Annalise, and all of a sudden, this guy, Mr. Mahoney, is shot in the head and is killed. Now, it would seem the most logical explanation here would be that Frank, since he's missing, is the one who shot him, but I'd say that's probably too easy for this show, so I would love to hear your thoughts on who is our killer of Mr. Mahoney. I absolutely do not think it will be someone random or someone who doesn't mean anything to us. I think it's someone we probably know, and I probably think it's not Frank. Now, I also want to know what you think about Frank. Do you think he's dead? Do you think he's run away? Where do you think he is? What do you think is going to happen to him? Because I would love to know. So I just want to thank you guys so much for supporting my channel and for being with me for the season 2 of How to Get Away with Murder. I love it so much, so you know I will for sure be back in season 3, but I'm looking forward to hearing your theories down below. I'm glad it ended on a cliffhanger so we can try to figure out where they're going to go in season 3. I know season 3 will be excellent as well. If you're new to my channel, if you just found this video, I would love for you to subscribe because I'll be back for season 3, but also, every other show I cover is a mystery, so maybe you watch some of those shows, or you might want to start because I try to pick only the very best shows to watch, and if they end up getting crazy, I ditch them. So that's like a story for another show, because I think I'm going to have to ditch one of the shows that I watch because it's getting a little stupid. But anyway, so again, thank you so much for watching Kellie TV, and I will see you next time.